All right, folks, welcome. Continue with Rambam and the laws of Isur Bia, prohibition of illicit relations. And we're speaking about now about the law of Nida, menstrual cycle, when between husband and wife they can't have relations at that time. Quite complicated. There's Nida, there's Zava. So Nida is the 7-day time period that you would normally see. And after the 7 days would be an 11-day time period that would not be a normal time of seeing uterine blood, from um, that would make someone nida. So it's not the usual time. That's called a zaba. Okay, so according to scriptural law, a woman does not become impure, right? She becomes impure by nida, having this blood, right? Just on spiritual terms. What's the blood? The loss of the ovary, the egg that's lost, the potential of life that was not realized. No one's to blame for it, but God created the world in such a way, that it's a world of klipa, and in klipa, that's negativity. So here's a potential of life that was not realized. That itself means impurity. Why does it mean impurity? Because God is not revealed, right? Not being revealed, loss of life. That's the way God created the world, right? And just based on what we learned now in Tanya and what we learned in the Mimer this morning, our job is to reveal life. So, but there are moments that God's presence is hidden. So Nida, in being impure, the presence is hidden, and therefore you're not allowed to engage. But you're not allowed to engage in relations, right? In intimate relations, it means you can talk with your wife. Actually, it's a good time because that's what you can do. So it can help. It can help to enhance the communication between husband and wife, because that's how you can connect at a time when you can't connect. All right. So when does she become impure? When she experiences a physical sensation, menstruates, and discovers blood which emerges within her flesh, as we explain. She becomes impure from the time she menstruates and onwards only. In other words, not before, but only from that time. So she has a physical sensation, menstruates, and there's a discharge of blood. If she does not experience a physical sensation, but conducts an internal examination and discovers bleeding within the vaginal channel, we operate under the presumption that it was accompanied by a physical sensation, as we explained previously. In other words, some people are very in tune with their body, and other people not so in tune with their body, right? Excuse me. Not so in tune. So the fact that you're not in tune, you didn't feel the physical sensation, but you found blood when you examined internally, means that there was a sensation, just didn't feel it. According to rabbinic law, whenever a woman discovers a blood stain on her flesh or on her clothes, she's impure. So that was biblical. Now, rabbinic is a little more stringent. Because if you found blood on your flesh or on your clothes, right? Not internal examination. Internal examination, so it's internal. So, it came from the source. But, here we're not exactly 100% certain, but we consider her impure. So as is, she discovered bleeding within the vaginal channel on her flesh. This applies even if she did not experience a physical sensation, even she conducted internal examination, did not find and did not discover bleeding. Right. This impurity is because of our doubt. Perhaps the stain came from uterine bleeding. Now, of course, the blood can come from somewhere else, right? It could come. But this is the assumption that we're making. Excuse me. This is the assumption we're making, right? Okay. Similarly, according to rabbinic law, whenever a woman discovers bleeding at the time other than her vest, a vest is the set time that she usually sees, right? Today, women, they're not so, it varies. But it used to be back in the day, excuse me, every, 20th of the month in the morning, it would be the time. Often, not necessarily it was always that way. When things are equal, whenever she discovers a blood stain, she's impure retroactively for 24 hours. For that day, in other words. If she conducted an internal examination within this time and discovered that she was pure, she's impure retroactively only until the time of inspection. Because from the inspection onward, she would be considered pure. I mean, before that. Although she is impure retroactively, she does not cause a man who engages in relations with her to become impure, as we explained. Nor will she begin counting her days of Nida, not counting because of the stain, except from the time she discovered the bleeding or the stain. Whenever a woman discovers the stain, her reckoning of her vest is confused. For it's possible that the bleeding came from the uterus or her vest must be recalculated. In other words, the time, we're not certain, becomes a little confused. Okay, unfortunately, I have to stop. But thank you very much. God bless everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome. Tim, you weren't by the class last night?
I got my time wrong and I was there, but I was only there for the last 45 minutes.
Ah, okay. All right. 45 better than not.
Yes.
All right. God bless. Be well. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.